Yo, what's going on, Vikings fans? You are watching Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Seatman, and coming up on today's show, I have the ultimate Minnesota Vikings 2026 NFL Draft Guide and go over some of the top targets at key positions of needs for this football team as they try to get back to the NFL playoffs next season. But the Vikings draft capital for 2026 looks like this. Round 1, they have pick number 18. Round number 2, pick 49. 2 picks in the third round, one thanks to a Sam Darnold comp pick. No picks in the fourth, but a fifth rounder, then 3 picks in the sixth round, and 2 picks in the seventh round. I very well could see maybe the Vikings packaging a late 6th and a late 7th, trying to move up to get an extra 5th round pick. But that's how the draft capital looks so far. But I do want to go back to start off this draft guide and looking at how Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, the Vikings GM, has drafted so far. So his first draft back in 2022, probably the worst one by far that we have seen in his tenure. Now, really, there's only one starter out of all 10 of these selections, that being Jalen Nailor in the 6th round, which give him credit. That was a hell of a pick. Jalen Nailor is a solid starting wide receiver in the NFL, but Lewis seen an absolute bust. Andrew Booth, Brian Asamoah, Caleb Evans, Easy E in the 5th, Ty Chandler, Vidarian Rowe, and Nick Muse. None of these guys are solid starters at this point. Really, the only one there is Jalen Nailor. But back in 2023, he had a good pick of Jordan Addison. But still, Mekhi Blackman, you traded him for a 6th. Jay Ward, he's a rotational player. Jacqueline Roy, not on the team anymore. Jaron Hall, not on the team. Dwayne McBride, not on the team. So in 2022 and 2023 combined, you have 2 starters. And both those guys being wide receivers. Now, 2024, this was when Kwesi really took a lot of risk. He traded back up to go land Dallas Turner in the first round after selecting J.J. McCarthy in the first round as well, pick number 10. Now, we'll see if J.J. McCarthy ends up working out. I think Dallas Turner, that looks like a good selection. But Walter Rouse, rotational offensive lineman. Will Reichard might be his best pick so far as a GM. But then you got Michael Juergens and Levi Drake Rodriguez solid. So in this draft, I will say, getting a little better. Like Dallas Turner is going to be a potential star in the NFL. Will Reichard's a hell of a pick. And Levi Drake Rodriguez looks like a solid rotational player that he found in the 7th round. But this past year, 2025, round 1, he took Donovan Jackson. I think that's a good pick so far. We'll see if he ends up reaching Pro Bowl, all-pro level play at the offensive guard spot. Ty Felton, wide receiver 3, necessarily just a gunner, so that looks like a miss. Tiernan Ingram-Dawkins, I like that pick. We'll see if he ends up developing. But Kobe King, he's on the New York Jets. And Gavin Bartholomew didn't make the team this entire season as he was dealing with injuries. So, again, Kwesi has not been a good drafting GM so far in his tenure. Now, I will say this. I think for the Vikings to have a successful draft, they need to find 2 or 3 immediate impact starters. Where we're talking about these guys late November, early December next season when the Vikings are hopefully making a push to win the NFC North, and we're saying, oh, we got 3 starters as rookies right now. Maybe you get 1 in the first, 1 in the second, 1 of your third rounders end up hitting because he needs to have a good draft. And hopefully he will. And if you guys want him to have a good draft and for the Vikings to crush the 2026 NFL Draft, go down there, hit that thumbs up icon for us. We're going to put today's goal as 500 likes. So if you guys could help us out, go down there, hit that thumbs up icon. All right, so some of the top needs for the Minnesota Vikings in this draft. I think number 1 would be the safety position. Number 2, the cornerback spot. Number 3, linebacker. Number 4, center. And number 5, the tight end position. Reason I'm including tight end in this one is I'm assuming the Vikings will be cutting T.J. Hockenson, but if they don't, you could probably put defensive line or maybe offensive tackle at that number 5 spot. But my number 1 draft target for the Vikings in round 1, I got to go with Jermod McCoy here. Jermod McCoy is an absolute demon. He did suffer a torn ACL this time last year in January, but this guy was a former 3-star recruit out of White House, Texas. He was actually the number 126 overall cornerback in the 2023 class. But back in 2024, when he was still young, played some great football. He was first-team All-SEC and a Jim Thorpe Award finalist back in that season. This guy is a super sticky corner. He's a ball-hawking corner. He was actually a former wide receiver when he was recruited to go to Oregon State originally before he transferred to Tennessee. So he has ball-hawk abilities. And the Vikings, they do need some help at that spot. And actually, the Ringer mocked the Vikings drafting Jermod McCoy in a recent mock draft, saying this: the Vikings put together a strong pass defense in 2025, but tied for just 27th in the NFL in interceptions with 8. McCoy fills a need at the team's thin cornerback spot, and his ball-hawking talent should help Brian Flores and company their production, or should help them boost their production in the takeaways department. So my scouting report on McCoy, this guy's a speedy ball hawk corner. He'll be able to, go route for route with damn near any wide receiver in the NFL. Like, he won't be lacking any athleticism in that department. Short area quickness, no doubt about it. Super flexible hips. He can really run every single route of the route tree with these wide receivers. Great instincts, and his pro comp is Eric Stokes. This guy's my number 1 draft target for the Vikings. But if they can't get him, how about a linebacker? Sonny Styles out of Ohio State. This guy's an absolute freak of nature. Big old body, super fast and rangy linebacker, and he was actually a safety before he switched over the linebacker in 2024. He was a former 5-star recruit, so different than Jermod McCoy, where this guy was highly touted coming out of high school. 5-star recruit, went to Ohio State, his local college, and he was actually the number 2 safety in his 2022 high school class, but he switched to linebacker in 2024, and this past season in 2025, he was a first-team All-American. So clearly one of the best players in the country, and he's got elite athleticism, and his upside is truly through the roof. Like, his ceiling is so high that I'll be down for the Vikings to take an inside linebacker at pick number 18. Now, with his thinner frame, 6'4", 238 pounds, he can struggle to disengage from blockers, so he can get flushed out of the play here and there. But the pro comp for him that we've seen thrown around, Devin Lloyd. So a great coverage linebacker, can fly around the football field. Not the most physically imposing. Like, he truly is a modern day linebacker. Like, he's not like the linebackers back in the day, like Ray Lewis, Brian Urlacher, where all these guys were 245, 250. He's a little thinner, but he flies around the football field. I think be a great fit for Brian Flores. Now, number 3 on this list, we're going to go Mansour Delane, LSU corner. Now, Mansour Delane, I would be shocked if he falls to potentially pick number 18. I think he could end up being a top 10 pick. Now, this guy was a former 3-star recruit, the number 59 cornerback, and the number 650th overall player in the 2022 class. He had 3 seasons at Virginia Tech before he transferred to LSU, and this past season was probably the best corner in the country. He was a first-team All-American and first-team All-SEC and a Jim Thorpe Award finalist. So this guy, highly touted, very accomplished, very athletic, and this guy, I think him or Jermod McCoy would be a home run pick for the Vikings, as they need another cornerback in this system, because, you know, Byron Murphy Jr., Isaiah Rodgers, they had okay years, but they need more production out of that spot. The Vikings need a true lockdown guy, and I would love for the Vikings to get that true lockdown guy, just to have a corner where Brian Flores could pretty much say, hey, we're taking away this side of the field. And then how creative Flores could get on the other side. I hope the Vikings can potentially find that. But lucky for them, this draft, Mansour Delane and Jermod McCoy, 2 home run picks for the Vikes if they can get them at number 18. Now, number 4, let's shift to the offensive side of the ball here. Jeremiah Love, running back out of Notre Dame. Jeremiah Love's fantastic. Now, I don't think he's on the level of prospect as a guy like Ashton Genty or like a Saquon Barkley or like a Christian McCaffrey when they were coming out. This guy's fantastic. He was the number 5 running back and the number 79 overall player in his 2023 draft class. In high school, he actually won the Missouri State 100-meter title with a 10.76 second time, which is unbelievable, and he was unanimous first-team All-American this past season. Now, Jeremiah Love's an interesting pick for me, because if you told me Kevin O'Connell was going to stay way more committed to the run next season, then yeah, I would be all in on Jeremiah Love, because you want to take pressure off Justin Jefferson. You want to make your quarterback's life a whole lot easier, which will probably be J.J. McCarthy, who thrived with a running game at Michigan. Go get that all-pro back. Go get that guy who was a Heisman finalist, which Jeremiah Love was. So it really comes down to, if Kevin O'Connell, you're going to change your offense, you're going to lean more into the run, then go get that that dynamic back. Have him and Jordan Mason be that 1-2 punch in the running back backfield this upcoming season. So kind of split on him, but if he's there, it might just be too good to turn down. Now, another freak athlete here, Kenyon Sadiq, tight end out of Oregon. Polarizing prospect, I must say, as most people are in the modern-day social media era. But Kenyon Sadiq, this guy's a freak athlete, man. He was actually first-team All-Big Ten. He was also a Big Ten tight end of the year as well, and he was also a junior and former 4-star recruit out of Idaho Falls, Idaho. And he ranked first among FBS tight ends in receiving touchdowns. Now, cool quote from Dante Moore, his quarterback this past year, saying, "That's Superman. Having Kenyon at tight end, his speed, his awareness, and his confidence in route running, I just love to have him." Now, this guy, like I was saying, he's a freak athlete. You guys can see the photo that was just on screen. This guy is absolutely cut up. He is ripped to shreds, and he's a promising blocker. Now, I will say he's almost too much of a willing blocker. Like, he would just kind of get out of his own space a little bit as he's trying to go get that pancake, trying to go get that elite block. And he is undersized by NFL standards. Most of these tight ends are 6'5", 6'6". He's 6'2", 6'3", but he makes up for it with his thick frame. And he may struggle because of his size, being a true inline blocker. But I think is more of like a slot tight end hybrid. That's where he'll mainly find his success. Now, another concern here, he did have 6 drops in 2025, which was not an issue for him in 2024. He had 1 drop in 24, 6 in 25. So hopefully that trend doesn't continue. But Sadiq, if he's there at 18, it would be a risky pick. I'd probably be willing to take that risk if I was the Minnesota Vikings. But you guys let me know. I want to hear from you. Name your dream Vikings draft target in round 1. Chime in down below in the comments section. You guys let me know who you want the Vikes to take, and drop that prospect's name down below. All right, let's shift to round 2 here, and we're going to stick with the Oregon Ducks. We're going to go with Dylan Thieneman. Dylan Thieneman is one of my draft favorites in round 2 especially. Now, I have seen mocks that have had him going to the Chicago Bears example in the first round, which, is probably right. Like, this guy's an absolute freak of nature. But his PFF grade this past year, 89.9 overall. That's 8th in the entire country. Coverage grade, 90.5. That's 6th in the entire country. He's 6 foot, 205 pounds, 21 years old. This guy's a versatile safety. He's a willing tackler. He can get downhill. He's got great instincts. He does remind me a little bit of Harrison Smith. Maybe he doesn't lay the boom as much as Harry does. But in terms of a versatile guy who can hop in the box, also playing deep half, Dylan Thieneman, just a good football player, and I think he would be a hell of a pick in round 2 for the Vikes. But the Vikings also have a need at the center position, especially if they do end up letting go of Ryan Kelly, which is 110% on the table. Logan Jones, and this past season, probably the best center in the country. Big body, too, 6'3", 302 pounds, overall grade, 81.7. That was 3rd in the country. The best pass blocking center, number 1 in the country, 90.1 overall grade, and then still solid in the run blocking department, 17th in the country. He was also first team All Big Ten in 2024 and 2025. So this guy, highly accomplished, highly touted, and the Vikings do let go of Ryan Kelly. Watch out for Logan Jones. He could be round 3 too, but I'd be down to take him in round 2. Now, another guy I'm absolutely in love with, and a guy with a great college football playoff, D'Angelo Ponds, the undersized but feisty corner out of Indiana. Listen, he is undersized, and that may limit his ability to go against like the DK Metcalfs or the T. Higgins wide receivers in the NFL world, but he'll still compete his ass off. And he's an ultra competitor. He's an instinctual player, and he's not afraid to play physical. Even though he is a little smaller, he will get up in you, he will get in your chest, and he'll try to make your life as uncomfortable as possible. He's got super quick feet. He does have a track background, which I do really like, so he can get sticky in coverage. He can run with you as they're running down the field. And I think this guy, you can pop him in the slot too. Him in the second round, when you just think about like a good college football player, like that is him. Like, he made big-time plays, especially against Miami in the title game. Had 2 huge pass breakups for this Indiana defense, and he was a key cog of that system. So if he's there in the second round, maybe the Vikings don't go corner in round 1. Watch out for D'Angelo Ponds in round 2. Now, if you guys are subscribed to the channel, I want to give you guys a massive shout out. And if you guys could just type real one down below. If you're a subscriber of Vikings now, give me those real ones down below so I can see where all the real ones are at. Now we'll dive into some round 3 draft targets here for the Vikings in a second. And let me tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor. That is Prize Picks. Now, the big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And since a big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close the season outright with Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Now, you guys can find your community on Prize Picks with the new social feeds feature. You can share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. Copy lineups you like or use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can now even follow Prize Picks partners like us and tail or fade our picks with just one click. Prize Picks also has a new feature called Early Payouts. So if your player gets off to a hot start, you now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. So download the Prize Picks app today, plug in the promo code CLNS, get hooked up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. But a massive shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's show. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, top of the round 3 here, and starting off with cornerback out of Illinois, Xavier Scott. Not the running back Xavier Scott that's on the Vikings, but the slot corner. Now, he can play outside, but I just think he'll translate more to the NFL level as a starting slot corner. 5'11", 190 pounds, and his projected NFL role would be a starting slot corner in a zone-heavy scheme, which obviously Brian Flores this past year ran a lot more zone than man. But he's an elite instincts guy, very intelligent slot cornerback. I think his fit with Brian Flores would be pretty ideal because we have not really had Flores having that true slot corner. I would like to see how he would adjust to that. Now, I'm sure Flores would like a guy that can do both, which, he can, but at least at the NFL level, he feels more of like a slot corner. But he's a guy to watch out for in round 3. Now, how about a linebacker? And this is a guy I could easily see being a Minnesota Viking, as he does kind of fit the bill of a college linebacker star that hopefully translates to the NFL, which the Vikings have taken risk on these guys throughout their organization's history, and that being Jacob Rodriguez, one of the best players in the country this past season. His PFF grades are ridiculous. I mean, they speak for themselves. 93.3 overall grade, first in the country. Run defense, 95.3, first in the country. Coverage grade, first in the country at 92.7. This guy's a stud. Is he the most versatile player? Not necessarily, but again, good football player. That's who Jacob Rodriguez is. I feel like this would be a don't overthink it pick. If he's there in round 3 and his talent might just be too good to turn down, is he the freakiest athlete? Is he the most versatile guy? Not necessarily, so that doesn't really translate with what Flores wants in that side of the football, but they could also just use more dogs, and Jacob Rodriguez is just that. Now, a guy that would be a perfect fit with Brian Flores is the safety linebacker hybrid Kyle Lewis out of Pittsburgh. This guy's an absolute freak, man. I'm really falling in love with this guy. I could also see him going in round 2 easily when it's all said and done, but his versatility, man, would match up perfectly with Flores' game. Like, this guy can come down, play that makeshift Harrison Smith role where he's lined up on the line of scrimmage. You got to pick and choose if he's coming, and he disguises it perfectly. Hard hitter, great instincts, great ball hawk as well at the safety position. Kyle Lewis, another one of those guys in day 3 that I would love. Now, if I just had to kind of go quickly, pick one from every round, give me Jermod McCoy in round 1. Round 2, give me Logan Jones. Or no, give me Dylan Thieneman in round 2. And then also give me Kyle Lewis in round 3. Let's add 3 players to the secondary. I think that would be a home run draft for the Vikings. Lean into Brian Flores. Lean into your strengths. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this video. And if you guys made it to the end, give me those skulls down below in the comment section. We'll get on out of here. As always, Skol Vikes.